Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the story about fuel coloring activity right here. As you see right here, is I went ahead and drew a picture. It's like right here is a gas station. I really don't know if it will be like what you call it, like any gas stations like this to where that you would have like what you call is like a road of like four pumps right here. I say on the main say floor. If they go by floor A, floor B it is, and then of course that there will be like what you call is like an entrance ramp go right here for the second top floor. It is that you would have like say a selection of four pumps about right here. It is a lot of times that with most gas stations it is that you would have a pump on reverse sides. It is on this side and then of course on that side, and so at least there will be at least eight spots where you can pull up for say if you want to fill up your tank. It is, and I know with nowadays that your gas averages, I would say that I think nowadays it's about three I think 359 I think it is for like if between regular and of course with premium, and of course with with diesel gas it is with diesel gas I think it's 389 something like that. And then of course for the ethanol I think they say that ethanol is at something like 320 something like that. But anyway, I noticed that whenever you go to the gas station, a lot of times it's like talking about charging taxes. It is knowing about it's like you get the amount it's like per gallon it is. But other than that is that I went ahead and used right here as a sign. It's like if you have like what you call is like a sign for like a title. It's like if you have a gas station, buy a title and say of a name it is, and say that there is like you say quick time, of course quick trip or anything, any place in particular like that you would be able to pull up to a fill up station if you're driving on the highway it is, or driving somewhere. But a lot of times that knowing about it's like talking about with the besides that it's like the driving, and of course with the cruise control, and most of us knowing about how safe it is knowing about really about that if you're going to be driving those types of vehicles that that get real good gas mileage. It is as I was just thinking about this like with cruise control. It is with cruise control, in my opinion, knowing about this like knowing about how to use it, it is to keep your keep the good steering it is, and just knowing about with cruise control is if once you get the hang of it, then I'm sure that they probably think about just keep an eye on the steering, and of course about the driving and making sure that so it's like you're focused on say on the driving skills of by from which lane that you're supposed to be in, the course, and then of course to check the blind spots, and keep have your seatbelt on, stuff like that. But anyway that but what I'm gonna go ahead and draw right here, of course, is most of us have seen them before, like what you call those the type of say trucks it is. I think the luxury say the types of trucks that deliver the gas. It's like into the gas station it is. You go ahead and say right here, go ahead and draw right here is kind of an example. Say what I'm talking about. You have a thing, I don't know if it's called the RC or the RV or say type truck it is, but you got a truck kind of like this right here, to where that you got the driver's side and about right here, and then of course you got right here is a tanker. You got is that where that on the back of the truck it is that there would be like let's say a place to where that have it to where that carry the types of fuels it is. Draw the tanker at about see here, go ahead and draw. Think about right there it is. Whenever they pull in and then they're ready to pump the gas and say down, I guess that there's a way that they can feed it underneath the ground. It is that they're going to be say you instead put in the gas for the gas lines it is. But you have right here is the truck pulls in into the gas station, and about right here it is, and then there's like a say a hose hose attachment right here. Is that there's a line that attaches from the truck. It's like from into the ground, and then it will be like what you call is like a compartment at about right here, to where that they would be able to feed the fuel into say the line that they have in the ground. And if I remember a couple of times I've seen it at the gas stations a lot of times that they say that that's how that they supply the fuel type, for that, for those pumps. It's like they pump it into the the valve is like for the fuel line it is. I went finished drawing the truck right here, but anyway, that what you have right here is like a type of truck, and the type of truck that delivers to say the gas it is. And with most of us, we're probably thinking about that you seeing them and knowing about it. So you're kind of interesting knowing about maybe about how they deliver the gas to. It's like knowing about the type of gas. Oil it is, the type of oil. It's like knowing, it's like talking about, it's like if it's MFA or if it's any other type of oil it is. But anyway, that you have right here is that you got the type of gas that more likely be delivered, and knowing about that. Go ahead and see here. Use the blue right here. Of course, it's like what they have right here is the tank. But anyway, that this reminds me a little bit of a ever since before I even had a driver's license, of course, that I can remember going up to the gas station, of course, with my mom and my dad, of course. Remember going up to the gas station, and then it was like that. Yeah, you pull up to a pump, and I can remember that that's like that fill up the tank with gas, and of course, if you want anything like candy or anything, any type of a candy bar or anything like that in the station it is, and sometimes I go in there and get, and then so it's like a lot of times it's like knowing about it. It's like that I can remember whenever we came up to a rest stop those couple of times that I can remember that that I there were some times that I liked the road trip. Of course, that I did like the road trip to the point where I did not want to stop, and even for gas or anything like that. That if I remember a couple of times, maybe in the winter time, I think it was in the winter time, didn't want to have to get out of the car, just to stand outside, to pump the gas it was, and I think that there are some gas stations around. I don't know about it's like maybe in St. Louis or other places that they would have it to where that you pull up to a pump, and then they ask you what type of fuel type that you like to have it is, and then they would pump it for you. It's like they have it to where it's like right here is like with the truck right here, and then but on the other hand too, that knowing about it's like you got right here's the truck and park right there. But there was a time, it's like talking about if you were to drive up to one of these pumps it is, and then knowing about that, they would ask you about what fuel type would you like to use. It's like, and I really don't know what all later on what they'll probably have at the pumps, and maybe by the year by the year 2030 it is, by 2019, more likely they probably say it won't take that long. Probably more likely it won't take that long. It's like knowing about the new type of fuel types that they'll more likely have is that you pull up to a pump right here. It's like with motorcyclists that if motorcyclists would be able to pull up to a pump it is, and knowing about the type of fuel type that they need, of course, in order to be able to get the fuel that they need, just to use to be able to drive it is. But I noticed that whenever I pulled up to the pump the last time, it was that knowing about it's like that a lot. If most of us are familiar with, it's like what you call like the pump, the fuel pump. It is quit and draw right here. It's like we got right here is the nozzle. You got the nozzle right there, and then of course with the pump, with the fuel pump, it is with the fuel pump, and then of course you got the attachment valve about right here, and it all depends on what gas station you go to, but it's like some of them are prepaid only. But if you were to take the pump right here, and then of course select your fuel type, it is go by select the fuel type, and then from there, and then of course you have like what you call is like unleaded. See that unleaded. And then of course you got it's like the premium, it's like the premium. You got the premium, and then of course it's like for the ethanol. And it's like you got ethanol. It's like knowing about the it's like talking about it's like it's like knowing about it's like the type of knowing about it's like if it goes like does the E come before the X or before the say ethanol for or the premium, or if it's on the super unleaded. I know that they have like what you call it's like for super unleaded it is. People probably say that super unleaded. And a lot of us will probably think about with super unleaded fuel it is knowing about that whichever one that's cheaper, whichever one that's affordable it is. But on the other hand too, that knowing about if you're going to have maybe an older car, a type of car that that don't really burn anything such as ethanol or anything like that, they probably think about recommended to go ahead and get the fuel type of course the engine uses it is. But anyway, you got right here is the sales sign, and you got the sign right here for like the pull-up station. And I noticed that if you were to pull up to a gas station, it is a lot of times that they would say that you buy soft drinks for only about $1.39, something like that. It's like a king size candy bar. It is a lot of times it's it's like king size candy bar. You go in there if you want to buy a soda or maybe some bread, some coffee. There's probably a lot of people in there that probably go into the gas station and buy coffee. It is. It's like knowing about with the cup of coffee. It is. It's like with the coffee, it's all nice and warm. It's nice and warm, and then on the other hand too, that it's like with the cup of coffee. It's like it's like the type of coffee brands that that they have out there. It is. It's like you got I think Starbucks or something like that. It's like or the Oscar or the say another type of coffee brand. It's like I think Folgers. Folgers another type of coffee brand. But I know with me that. I know I'm not really a coffee drinker, but I know the last time I drank it, a lot of people probably thinking about that. Coffee. Coffee tastes like dirt, but on the other hand, coffee, it don't taste the same, of course, as what you call is like with coffee though. That I used to always say a lot of times that anybody who drinks coffee, it is, and just knowing about that really well why it probably tastes good just like what you call is like the mix, the coffee mix it is. It smells good, but on your end too, after it's made though, that people are thinking about that it makes your breath smell like if I could describe it, it makes your breath smells like good morning call. It's like if you want to smell my breath, smell the breath like a good morning call. But there's a lot of times people are thinking about you drink coffee. A lot of times it's in the morning time that you get a cup of coffee. It is, and just knowing about with Folgers. It's like, but on the other hand too, that knowing about besides coffee, and then of course with the soft drink, all that stuff, maybe a soda or say a candy bar. It is, and go ahead. It's like you draw a candy bar right here. It's a lot of times you go into the gas stations and they probably say that candy bars, buy one get one free, or if it's like it would say a king size candy bar, king size candy bars are about 2 for $5 or anything like that. Just like for the king size, and a lot of times you're probably thinking about that. I can maybe. I've probably been into the gas station a number of times to where that people probably thinking about that really that if you pay $5 or maybe $5 or maybe a $1.49 or something like that for something that such as a drink or anything like that, maybe it's a pack of cigarettes or maybe a bag of pretzels or anything like that, maybe cold beer or anything like that, they probably thinking about that that's like between $5 maybe $10 or something like that, including say the gas it is. But reminds me, it's like talk about as a story about fuel. It is about, it's like whenever the teacher at my school was asked me, it's like how do you spell, it's like fuel. It is, it's like talking about with if you want to go ahead and do is like talk about as fuel up. It's like fuel up as is fire up. It is like a FU is like EL it is. It's like for fire up. And a lot of us will probably thinking about if you probably say, but you spell fuel like this right here. And a lot of us were probably thinking about that with fuel. Like, with fuel. With fuel. With fuel, I'm like, this type of word, more likely they're probably thinking about is like that, yeah, well, if you take the Y off, then more like, yeah, but with fuel, then more likely that there can be another name for like what you call is like that, maybe a power steering fluid or anything like that. It's like the type of power steering fluid or anything like that, de-icer, any type of road traveling kit or whatever you call it, the fuel, the fuel, it's like a, emergency kit or anything like that. But alright, that is talking about what first aid is talking about. It's like is talking about the story about fuel. It's talking about, it's like with the activity coloring.